And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. There's a lot of people with tube. People today, hope feeling grand as well in your world. Welcome to the Q&A Wednesday, everybody. It's going to have to be a quick one today, as I've got a bit of a lot on today. So I'm only going to be able to do 4 questions today. So I do apologise for that. I will make up for it next week, and I'll do an extra long Q&A for you. So yeah, question 1 today is what setting do you normally have your Strats volume and tones at, and what is the best for John Frusciante's clean? Right. I normally, well, there's a few different ways I run my volumes and tones. There's, if I'm playing like rhythm kind of distortion, if you like distorted rhythm, like palm muted kind of stuff. If it's a humbucker guitar like this one is, and this guitar today has just made me realise that Revelation are incapable of making a bad guitar, and you'll see more of this soon, I promise. But if I'm playing a humbucker guitar, I normally have everything flat out, 10 on volume and tone. And if I'm playing like a Peter Green bluesy thing, I'll turn it down. But if I'm playing single coils like I normally play, if I'm playing rhythm, I'll normally turn like distorted rhythm. I normally turn my volume down to 8, and that gets rid of some of the high end. It just kind of like fattens it up a little bit more. But for solos, everything's on 10. And what's best for John's clean is to run everything on 10. Just let your guitar run wide open. John used his volume a bit every now and again, and he used these tones a bit every now and again, but most of the time they are kind of on 10. They're not really, he's not, you know, he just does what he does, so to say. So that's what I would recommend, is just run it on 10 for John. And that's how I normally run mine. If I'm playing clean, everything's on 10. If I'm playing distorted rhythm, on a single coil, I'd roll the volume down to 8. And if I'm playing humbuckers, I normally just kind of leave it on 10. Invariably, the tone, for me, what I'll do with tones is I'll tend to kind of have them all the way on or all the way off. I never kind of like, 99.9% of the time that's what I do. There's a couple of times where I might kind of have it turned down like maybe half, but most of the time it's turned all the way down, just especially on the neck pickup, to get that really nice. You know, it really kind of just warmed up, singy kind of tone, especially if it's a bridge humbucker as well. You get really cool, you know, pseudo neck pickup things. But like I say, what I'd recommend for John is to run everything on 10, tones and volumes, and that way your guitar's going to give the most it's got, because on a Strat, if you roll your volume down, you said you're running your tone and your volume at certain places, like you're running your volume at 7, I think you said, and if you run your guitar volume that low, unless you've got a treble bleed in the circuit, you're going to get a treble roll off. So basically, like, the treble is just going to disappear. You're going to get added low end, so it's going to make it darker, more warm, woolly kind of sounding. So the moment you have that on 10 and go from there, it'll be a lot brighter, and you'll be able to dial in a better John Frusciante kind of clean tone, because it'll be a lot snappier. So so yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'd recommend for a kind of a John thing. Definitely is run everything on 10. Don't turn your volume down unless you need to, which invariably, kind of most of the time with John, you don't really need to, unless you kind of, between songs. Excuse me. So so yeah, I hope that's answered your question anyway. But like I say, experiment, but for John, always have them cranked. So so yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Excuse me. My breakfast repeating on me, everybody. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have question 2 now. Okay, so question 2 today, everybody, is how do you adjust your playing style to adjust from different guitars between a Strat and a Les Paul? So yes, yeah. How do I adapt playing different kind of styles of guitar? I don't know. It's just because you mentioned you'd seen, like, you'd seen the setup video on my guitar, on my Strats. Like, I have them kind of like strings angled like that, so the high E's here and the low E's down here. I kind of do the same thing with my Les Pauls, really. I kind of have the bridge start like higher on the treble side and lower on the bass side, so it's kind of the same kind of thing. But I know what you mean. They are, like, the strings, you don't kind of get the same kind of spacing. But in all fairness, I don't really feel much difference. Like, well, maybe that's the wrong thing to say. You know, you obviously feel the difference between a Strat, a Les Paul, a Telecaster, SG, you know, Jaguar, this, whatever. But I don't really change. The only thing that I really kind of do to change my playing style, you got me self-analysing now. Like, I don't actually know what I do, if I do anything at all. The only thing I do to kind of like, and it really depends. If it's a Les Paul or a Strat or a Telecaster, I don't really change the way I play, really. And I'm trying to get out of the whole haunted guitars thing, which is a video. I want to do a video on that subject, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. But on the whole thing of haunted guitars, but I don't really try and alter my playing style regardless of what I pick up, because one day I might have to go to a gig or get up and jam with somebody, and they might give me a Les Paul instead of a Strat, or a Telecaster instead of a Strat, or you know. Or a different kind of Strat with two humbuckers or whatever. So I try not to I've been trying to get out of this kind of like habit of, like I say, haunted guitars thing, which again I'll talk about in a sec. But I don't really feel I adjust much. If I'm playing my Jaguar, I ease up on my right hand a lot because of the bridge. You don't want to be whacking a Jaguar too hard because of the saddles. But and that doesn't, you know, I'm still quite heavy-handed with my Jag, but I'm not as heavy-handed as I am with my Les Pauls or my Strats. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know how I do it, but I don't really have a problem going from one to the other, really. I mean, I love Les Pauls and I love Strats and I love Telecasters. The only guitar I do struggle going to, like I said, is a Telecaster. Although I love them to bits, but they're the only guitar I've ever felt that it doesn't fit to me. But between a Strat and a Les Paul, I don't really, like I say, I angle the bridge so the treble strings are higher than the bass side, and I also angle pickups to that as well. Like the treble side is super high and the bass side is super low. That's why I had to put the pickup covers back on my Lemon Drop, because the high E string was getting caught under the pickup bobbin. But yeah, I don't really feel like I do a great deal, to be honest with you. Like adjustment wise in playing, apart from, like I say, if I'm playing like a Jaguar or something like that kind of bridge, I ease up my right hand a smidge. But I don't really feel 100% out of my comfort zone with any guitar, really, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's the right. I don't know, it's quite hard to. You got me thinking. I might have to come back to this question. I don't really analyse what I do and how I do it, really. It's quite difficult for me to kind of like, you know, think of how I adjust to playing certain different guitars, because I tend to kind of dig in heavily on every guitar I've got. Like just they all get really worn. Like where my plectrum digs in, I scratch, you know, a really heavy right hand most of the time. I kind of ease up every now and again, but if I'm playing most of the time, I'm quite heavy-handed, right-handed. But not horrendously heavy-handed, but quite. But and you've got me thinking. But yeah, I don't really feel I adjust a great deal. And like I say, the whole haunted guitars thing is a video what I do is a whole video what I do on its own, just having a bit of a chat about haunted guitars and how not to kind of fall into it, because it can be a bit of I think it can be a bit of a dangerous thing. Like for instance, if you pick up a Les Paul, you don't feel like you can play Jimi Hendrix on it. Or if you pick up a Strat, you don't feel like you can play Slash on it. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by haunted guitars. They're haunted by their heroes. Like, you know, the Strat is haunted by Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante, and the Les Paul is haunted by Slash and Jimmy Page and Peter Green, and you know, the Telecaster is haunted by people like Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan and people like that. So, and the SG is haunted by Angus Young, and it should be, regardless of what guitar you pick up, like, you know, you can just you play whatever you want to play without being influenced by that. I remember hearing Matt Bellamy talk about this a long time ago, and that's why he developed his Manson guitar to be such a way that he didn't want to be swayed by what the guitar is. But I think you can kind of get over that, and I say I want to do a whole video on that itself, but But yeah, I don't really feel like I do much really to adjust my playing style. I mean, I don't really know what I do, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I really don't know what I do to change between guitars. But when I change from a Les Paul to a Strat, or a Jaguar to a Strat, or this or whatever, as long as it feels comfy, I don't mind. If it feels uncomfortable, then I'm going to struggle. But as soon as if I put a guitar on and just, you know, just play a little a couple of chords and a little bit of a newly little scaly newly thing, that solo thing, and it feels good, then I'm not really going to have any trouble with it. But yeah, I might have to come back to your question. It's an interesting question. I've never really thought about it if I do adjust or anything like that. So, or how I adjust to playing different guitars. People of the Tube, how do you do it? What do you do to adjust between playing a Les Paul and a Strat? Is there anything you kind of do? Do you ease up left hand, right hand, whatever, you know? Also, I like different string gauges. Like, for instance, on Les Pauls, I like 9s, and on Strats, I like 10s. I hate 10s on Les Pauls. They just don't feel right. It's a very strange thing. But I mean, I suppose that kind of qualifies something I do, kind of thing. Anyway, but yeah, I might come back to your question actually in the future, because I don't really know what I do if I do anything. It's weird. I don't really self-analyse, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on to question 3 now, and yes, thank you very much for your question. Move on to question 3. Okay, so question 3 today, everybody, is compressors. Do you use them? How do you use them? And do they work in a band mix? Yes, they do work in a band mix. Loads of people forever have used compressors, and if you know, compression has a lot to do with a lot of classic guitar tones, because like if you look at like Jimi Hendrix or Peter Green or Eric Clapton or anything like that, when they had their Marshalls cranked up, the sound would compress because it was getting more and more distorted, and as it gets more distorted, it just becomes less unruly, so to say. You don't get as many spikes and stuff. There's natural compression in those amps, and the same thing you can kind of do. But it's what I speak about when getting John Frusciante's tone out of like the CR120 or the Marshall MG. It's that natural compression that makes everything behave. But yeah, I do use a compressor. I used to use a compressor all the time when I was in gimbal. I still have it. It's the Marshall Ed compressor, and it's awesome, and I need to do a demo of it soon, because it's an amazing and awesome compressor pad. You can get some really cool John Frusciante solo album tones out of it, like really squished and poppy kind of sounds, really cool. Not pop as in style, but really kind of guitar tones. Interesting noise. Anyway, I do use a compressor, but only. Like you could say, because I'm using the overdrive channel on an amp, that's my compressor, because it is compressed. It's not as unruly as a clean channel, so to say. So technically, I am kind of using a compressor all the time, but it's in the style. It's basically coming from my amp. I don't actually use a compressor anywhere else, so to say. It's just coming from the amp, so you get those really nice. Those really nice, singy, smooth kind of tones. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend compressors to any guitarist, just to smooth things out or boost things. They're just brilliant. And say if you get a compressor pad and you crank it up, it just pushes your amp in a really, really cool way into kind of like kind of a distortion. And with distortion, it just tends to smooth everything out. It's really, really nice. I love compressors, and I love the sound they give. I think that's one of the reasons why I stopped using clean channels. Is I liked that kind of. I didn't know it at the time, but I think now looking back, I think it's one of those things of with the clean channel, with the overdrive channel compressing with the slight bit of gain, it's a smoother response than it is on a clean channel. It's less harsh and less sharp edges, so to say. So yeah, compressors work awesome in a band situation. That's how I use them kind of all the time, but in kind of like from an amp. They're just really nice, and they just smooth things out really nicely. If that makes any sense, they're just really, really cool, and I would recommend it. I would recommend definitely trying one and just playing about with it and seeing how you get on with it and whatnot, because they're just fun. They're really cool. They can add a lot to your sound. They really can add a lot to your sound, compressors, and they're really, really cool. So yeah, hope that's answered your question. Move on to final question today, question 4 now. Okay, so final question of the day. I'm sorry it's a short one today, everybody. I'm a bit strapped for time today, so I do apologise for only 4 questions today. Like I say, I'll make up for it next week. I'll do an extra long Q&A. I'll do 10 questions next week, promise. So yeah, so question 4 today. I spoke about this before, but I like to address it every time it comes up. Somebody asked me, how do you deal with feelings of self-doubt and incompetence? I get anxious a lot about playing guitar solos and it always messes me up. Then I always kind of like back down, you get back down to pressure, and I get down on myself when I can't play something right. I'm a very self-conscious person, and I get down I get so down with how he feels that he doesn't pick up the guitar. Right, the whole thing of self-consciousness, I think unless you've got a bit of an ego problem, you're always going to be a bit self-conscious about everything you do. You know, it's always kind of like when you go to a gig and the first song comes around, you're always kind of like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, like that. But after the first song, you kind of let that go, and you just become more relaxed, and you become less self-conscious of what you're doing, because you need to kind of like, how to word this. This is, I have spoken about this before, but it's quite difficult to word. Well, so being self-conscious and really hard on yourself, can, like you said in your question, it just kills the fun for you, and it does make you want to put it down and give up, and just walk away and maybe come back to it another day if you can be bothered. And I know how that feels, and I've spoke to people about who've been through the same kind of thing. But as cliche and as easy as a cop out this might sound, is you've just got to not be so hard on yourself. I mean, that's a really silly way of saying it, but you don't want to be that. You know, if you say you're doing like Metallica and stuff, and you're struggling with the guitar solos, in all fairness, Kirk Hammett will struggle some days with his guitar solos, even though he wrote them. You know, everybody struggles at some point with the guitar solos. It's not uncommon to fluff notes, especially live. It's going to happen. Mistakes are natural. You're going to mess up, and things are going to go wrong, and you're going to hit a wrong note, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. But it's not about that. It doesn't matter if people laugh at you. It doesn't matter if somebody says, I can play that better than you. They probably can. They probably can't. Who cares? You're the one doing it. It doesn't matter what, you know, what your brain tells you is what you're doing well, you're doing bad, you're doing this, you're doing that. You know, it doesn't matter about any of that. What all that matters is the fun element of it, enjoyment, and that ability to switch this thing off. And that's really difficult. That is really difficult. To turn this off and to just kind of like be in the moment with the music is very, 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 very difficult, and it takes a bit of, you know, getting used to. But when you get to that point, you all of a sudden like become totally unclouded, unbothered, and you just, that's when you can play your best, is when you're not thinking. So one thing I would say is try not to overthink what you're doing. Don't analyse it. If you can do it at home, you can do it live. If you can do it in practice, you can do it live. You can do it regardless. You just have to believe you can. You know, and it doesn't come from here, that belief. It doesn't come from your brain. Your brain will go out your way, especially if it's like you say, like your brain is where it gets you down and makes you feel incompetent and makes you feel self-conscious. Your brain will go out of its way to make you feel awkward about what you're doing. So what I would say is try and turn that off when you play. Like, I went down this route a long time ago to kind of like go, I want to basically just play how I want and don't care what anybody else thinks. And if that means I'm up on stage and I'm playing a guitar solo and I'm pulling stupid faces and I've got my eyes shut and I'm just kind of going like that, but it feels right to me, but there's some guy in the corner laughing at me because I look stupid. I don't care. It's not about him. It's about you, and it's about the music. It's not about people looking at you. It's about what you're doing and what the music is. You know, you've got to serve that master more than the master of this. This, it will lead you down the wrong road totally. I mean, I'm probably going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I know what you mean about self-confidence. And like I say, the only guitarists I've ever met who were kind of like not self-conscious had ego problems. They thought, oh, no, I'm amazing. I'm amazing, I am. It's like, you know, it's like, and I don't like that. I don't think that's the attitude you should have at all when playing an instrument, because it can get in the way and it's just stupid. I don't like ego. It gets in the way of things, and people who think they're great, no, invariably either aren't, and they think they're better than they actually are, or they're just people you don't want to be near. Anybody who can put anybody down, regardless of their skill level, because they think they're better, is doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. You don't put people down, you help bring them up. There is nothing to be gained from going, well, you're rubbish, I can do that better than you, and just squish them down. It's like, well, why don't you go up to them and help them do it better? You know, I've always thought that. It's like, you know, why can't you help instead of being negative about it? Oh, I'm better than you, so go and help them. Go and help them do what they're trying to do. Make their playing better through your own experience in your thing. But anyway, I'm digressing. But self-conscious, you're always going to be self-conscious. If that's in your nature, and you say you have mental health problems as well, like you know, like quite a few of us do. So that's always going to be part of it. So do not worry about that. You've just got to turn this off. Turn that off and just play. Don't think, just play. Like I say, if you can do it at home, you can do it live. If you can do it at practice, you can do it live. Let it just flow. And just go for it. Don't for 1 second think that I can't do it, because the moment you think I can't do this, you're not going to be able to. The man on my arm, Mr. Miyamoto Musashi, is he was a really famous swordsman from Japan during the late 1500s to the 1600s, and he's got a book called the Book of Five Rings, and he says, and it translates over to guitar, but if you're in a sword fight and you flinch, you've lost, because you've shown a weakness. Whereas if you just kind of go for it because you know you can do it, you know, and you don't let this cloud what you're going to do, you'll do it. You'll be fine. But the moment you go, oh, hang on a minute, can I do this? You ain't going to be able to do it. You're going to fail. So know you can do it, and just forget anything else and just play. Like, just go for it. Who cares if you mess up? It doesn't matter. The world is not going to end because you mess up. Just take it on board and go, right, well, I messed up on this bit, so I need to go back and I need to practice that bit more. And that will build your confidence as well. And the moment you absolutely nail the guitar solo, the Metallica solo live, you will feel brilliant. You're like, did that, and I know I could. Because we all know you can. And you need to know you can. And I'm sure you can. You know, all these things of self-consciousness and this and the other don't matter as long as you know you can do it. And just turn this off and just let it come out. Let it flow. You know you can do it, so just do it. Don't let people or your brain or whatever get in the way of that. You know, just let it flow, so say. But I totally understand what you mean. But like I say, self-consciousness is kind of a good thing, because it makes you a better player, because you're always striving to get better. The moment you think you're the best, you stop learning. And you'll never, you know, and anybody who knows anything kind of knows that you'll never stop learning. You'll never learn this. You'll never master this 100%. No one can. No one can play everything perfectly. No one. No, you can't get a guitarist who's really good at this, and this. And that's everything on the guitar. It doesn't work that way. Because there's too many individual styles. There's too many individuals that have made the guitar what it is. You can't master them all. There's too many. Yeah, you can't go from Django Reinhardt to Robert Johnson to Son House to Booker White, and then go to Jimi Hendrix and Dave Murray and Jeff Beck and this and that. It would take you a lifetime to learn everybody's style, and then you wouldn't be able to do it because your own style, would come out of all these people. So yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing off. I like doing that, don't I? I like disappearing off down rabbit holes. Anyway, but yeah, don't get so down on yourself about not being able to do, especially Kirk Hammett's solos. They are not the easiest solos to do at all. I remember learning Wherever I May Roam solo and Unforgiven solo way back when I first started playing guitar, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to play these. But you persevere and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, and time and experience will get the best of your self-doubt. It'll always be there. You'll always think what you're doing isn't good enough, you know. But that's it. That's being human at the end of the day, you know. No, people who think they're brilliant normally end up having a bit of a massive fall when they realise that they're not, or somebody comes along and shows them they're not. It's as cliche as this is, and as silly as this is going to sound, it's going to sound like it's like the guitar duel in the film Crossroads, where Steve Vai, who thinks he's amazing, and then Karate Kid comes in and shows him up. They're all people who think they're brilliant are always destined to a fall. They really are. You've got to remain humble. You've got to be, you've got to be calm, collected, know where you are, and play to where you are. Don't punch above if you don't need to. There is no point. Don't show off if you don't need to. There is no point. It's about music, not about showing off. It's not about going, hey, look at me, guys and girls. Look what I can do. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if you can't make that music come alive and reach out and touch people and grab people and take them on a ride with you. If you can't do that, then you know that's and you're just there to show off, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. But yeah, try not to let it get you down. Just learn to turn this off. And like I say, if you can do it at home and you can do it at practice, and you can do it, you know, just turn it off. Just turn that brain off, and just take a couple of seconds. Just stand aside and say, I can do this, and just go for it. And just go for it. And if you mess up, you mess up. It's fine. It really doesn't matter if you mess up. It really is fine. You know, just let things be what they'll be. You know, I messed up totally in my intro jam, but you go with the mistakes. You know, and you know, like I can't remember who said it, but it's like, if you make a mistake, do it twice. Make it twice. You know, then people will think it's real. think it was contrived. So if you're kind of dodgy note in there, do it again. You know, do it again. But yeah, try not to get. Don't let it kill your love of guitar. You said the guitar means everything to you, so don't let it do that. Just pick up the guitar and try not to be hard on yourself. Just play. And this is where it comes down to playing what you want to play is everything. Don't play anything you don't want to play. There is no point. It will only serve to beat you down. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. It is not worth the stresses and strains. Oh, I've got to learn jazz. I don't really want to learn jazz, but people have told me I need to learn jazz. No, you don't. If you want to sit around playing AC/DC all day, do that. If you want to sit around playing Chili Peppers all day, do that. If you want to sit around playing surf music all day, do that. Do what you want to do. It's all about you, this is, you know. And then, you know, it's all about you and the music and expression. Your expression. You know, you've got to get what's in there out. You know, this just gets in the way most of the time. It just confuses. This is great for learning, but when you're playing, this is not great. You're not learning when you're playing. You're expressing. That comes from there, not there. So yeah, trying to get yourself down too much, you know, and you know, if you ever need any help, send me another email, and you know, I promise I'll get to it, and you know, I'll you know, or in all fairness, it's probably, if you want to talk to me about stuff, it's best to find me on Facebook and stuff, to be honest with you. But you know, I'm always happy to help and try and give advice where I can, and if I can help, I will. But you know, and I'm sure a lot of people on here will do the same. So don't get too hard on yourself. Don't let it get you down. Keep playing. Enjoy it. Don't let it kill the enjoyment. Just enjoy it. Shut that off and just play, and know you can play. So I hope that's answered your question. I kind of digressed a lot there, but I hope that's answered your question. I'm always worried about those kind of questions that I'd totally ruin it. But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Just play. Just enjoy music. Love for music and love for guitar. Just let that overwhelm that thing of that, that I can't do this, kind of so to say. So, and you're not incompetent. If you're playing Metallica, you're definitely not incompetent. Okay, so I hope that's answered your question. I hope that's answered all your questions today. Like I say, it's only a short one today. I do apologise for that. But I'll see you again very soon for another video on Friday. Not quite sure what it's going to be yet, but time will tell. And so you'll see this guitar more very soon. This is stunning, this guitar. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. And have a great morning, afternoon, and evening. Goodbye now.